Hey, Pastor Josh here, and it is June 1st. This is the weekly update for Redeeming Grace Church. And a few things to talk to you about. First, just to let you know what our worship situation is on Sundays, is that we've got 5 different places where people are gathering together. One is the theater where I do the live stream, and I have about 5 other people that help me on the technical side of the live stream or lead worship or something like that. And so that leaves me about 4 other spots to invite people to come to. I've rotated mostly through our members, those that fit within that 4 or 5. And then what we have, the second location is also at the Journey, called the Gallery. And in the gallery, we can have an additional 10. And what we do is we just live stream over to a screen over there. So they're watching the live stream just like everybody else. But they're being able to do it in the Journey together. It gives us a little bit of limited interactions. Not ideal, but it allows us to include a few more people and for there to be some fellowship. Everything that happens at the Journey, people have to be masked the entire time, and there's 6 feet social distance at all times. So those are the 2 main requirements there. But then we've also got 3 different families that have opened up their homes. And for those that feel comfortable, another family or 2 has joined them for the live stream. And what has been interesting and not surprising is that those of us that were part of the core team together and have spent years together and been in each other's homes a lot have felt the most comfortable being in a home. Those of you that are a little newer to our church have not felt as comfortable doing that, and I totally understand. In your shoes, on a normal day, I feel uncomfortable going to someone's house, especially if I don't know them. But then you had the COVID stuff, and I totally understand why that's the case. But there are many of you that are willing and open to come to the Journey, wearing a mask, being socially distanced, and either being in the gallery or the theater. And so I think going forward for the next several weeks until we're able to make some adjustments, that'll be probably the normal. For this little bit is that a lot of the members that feel comfortable will gather in homes and leave that capacity at the Journey for those of you that are still a little bit newer to our church but would like to come. So if that's something that you're interested in, is coming to the Journey Museum and either being in the overflow room or in the live room, there is a registration form that I'm sending out, and my goal is to just rotate through different folks so that everybody has an opportunity to at least see somebody and to be able to take steps towards coming together. And the hope is that eventually that limit of 10 will move to 25, and we'll be able to then get the majority of those who are interested in gathering together in one building, and it'll be a step closer towards being one gathering once again. So that's the current situation, and we're just going to wait until our capacity at the Journey increases, at which case we'll be able to then pull those 5 different groups together, and maybe some of you that are still just watching by yourselves at home. So that's where things are at, and I'll keep you posted, but that's where things are at. And if you're interested in meeting up with some other folks in some way at the Journey or in a home, let me know. I'm kind of managing that week to week and trying to take into consideration everybody's comfort level and capacity, and trying to keep everything managed well and fair for everybody. Also, I just want to let you know we have Redeeming Grace Church hats, which if you're interested in a hat, I got a great deal on hats. So I have about 25 of those that if you're interested, I will, you can have one. They're actually very comfortable considering how cheap they were. But I've also got stickers, new Redeeming Grace Church stickers, and mugs, so that every time you take a drink of your coffee, you could pray for our church or something. So if you're interested in some merchandise, I have some and would be happy to hook you up. 2 more things that I'm really excited about that are kind of moving forward, next steps kind of thing, is one is the Membership Matters, which is what we call our class or our process for people who want to join our church, become covenant members of our church. So if you're interested in that, email me at josh@rgcrc.org, and then I'll email you the packet, the information that I like to walk people through in terms of what they need to know to join our church. The way the process works is that after you've read through that information, we get together in person and just walk through it again and make sure there's no questions that you have. In that packet is a statement of faith, the covenant that we ask people to agree to and sign to become a member of our church, as well as some other things about what we believe about the gospel, discipleship, fellowship, authority within the church, all those kinds of things. We like to just go ahead and get that all out on the table. That is designed to be a bit like marriage, premarital counseling, is that just so you know going in who you are covenanting with. And so we lay out everything that we can before the potential member, and in terms of who we are as a church. And then we schedule a second meeting that if the person's still interested in becoming a member, then we sit down and essentially I ask some questions. I want to know about, these are the questions I ask in that interview is explain your understanding of the gospel, explain how you became a Christian, have you been baptized as a believer, and then is there anything in your church background that would be important for us to know as you come into the membership. Sometimes that leads to other questions as well, but the idea is that we want to bring baptized believers into the membership of our church, and they're willing to. There isn't anything unresolved in their past with a previous church or anything like that that would be unhealthy to bring into our body. So it's not meant to be a hard process at all, but it is meant to be careful, that we want to make sure that we're unified and clear as a church together on what we're about. And then the final step of the process is that then the person is presented to the memberships at a membership meeting. They share their testimony, or I share a summary of their testimony with the current membership, and then they vote to bring that person into membership. And at that point, they're considered a member of our church and part of our church family, and all the rights and privileges that come along with church membership are then they share in. So that's one thing. So if you're interested in beginning that process, would love to do that to you. So send me an email at josh@rgcrc.org. The second thing is the clearinghouse ministry. We are eager to meet our neighbors and begin to do outreach. We've been limited, obviously, lately, but we have a great opportunity in front of us. Love Inc. is a ministry here in town, and they have an awesome division of their ministry called the Clearinghouse. And so what the Clearinghouse does is that people who are transitioning, either they're coming out of prison, or they were homeless, or they're moving out on their own. It can be a number of different situations where they've moved into a place and they need help with furnishings. So what they can do is they can call Love Inc. and Love Inc. has all this furniture that's been donated. And what they do is they have a process that these people go through to be able to earn that furniture. And so it's not just a handout, but it's a way of building a relationship with them, making sure that they are pointed in the right direction in terms of decisions in their life, an opportunity to share Christ. And then what happens is at the end of the process, there's a team that delivers that furniture and then prays with them and shares the gospel with them and sets up the furniture, meets that need. And so I asked Kane Shagla is the guy who runs that ministry. I called him up and I said, what would you think if we drew a circle around the journey, a 1 mile circle around the journey, and every request you get within that circle, we as Redeeming Grace want to make that delivery. We want to be that point of contact. We want to pray with them. We want to be the people that meet that need and then invite them to our church. So he said that he thought that was a great idea. And my experience with that is that that's some of the best evangelism I've ever had, because people are actually asking Christians to come into their home and meet a need. And I just don't know of any other opportunities that are anything close to that. And so if you are interested in being part of a team that does those deliveries, my ideal would be that we have a team of 3 or 4 available every week, and that each of us only has to do it once a month, but that there's always someone available every week for a couple of hours at the same consistent time that could do those deliveries, share the gospel, be the point of contact, and we would just be a reliable engine of ministry in our community, and that Love Inc. is just teeing it up for us. So there's also a part of that process where early on there's kitchen items that often Kane says that that's a great way for women to go, and a lot of times it's single moms or whatever. And so both on the front end, when the request comes in and kitchen items are given right away, and at the end of the process when the furniture is delivered, there's really a place for all kinds of people, whether you're more a task-driven person or whether you're a more relational person. Whether you're a woman or a male, there's all kinds of opportunities within this ministry avenue. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know, because then I'll schedule a meeting and we'll go to the Love Inc. facility and get a tour, and then see if we can't figure out a way to put together a schedule where we're able to meet the needs of the community that they're asking churches and Christians to meet, and that we could do that in a consistent way. I just think it's the greatest outreach opportunity we have in our city, and it's super easy. It's super easy to do, and it's just teed up, ready to go, evangelism and outreach, and we would love to be on the front lines of that. Love Inc. really struggles to get volunteers for that, and I cannot understand that, because it's such a wonderful, wonderful ministry. So if you are interested in any part of that process, let me know, and I'll include you on the communication on when we can meet and figure out how to put together some teams and put together a process for meeting that ministry need and reaching out in our community. So let me know if you're interested in that. Josh at rgcrc.org. And that's it. That's it for this week. So I love you. Hope you have a great week. Hope you're able to encourage another brother or sister in the Lord. And we'll catch up with you later.